With inflationary pressure and interest rates on the rise, home buyer and seller activity shifted below our long-term seasonal averages this summer. This shift in market conditions caused prices to edge down over the past 4 months, says Andrew List, the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver's Director of Economics and Data Analytics. So if prices are falling, does that also mean that the sky is falling on all real estate in Vancouver and the Lower Mainland? Stay tuned while I unpack our August 2022 real estate sales data and try to answer that very question in our next collective communique. If you've been watching the news today and they were talking about the latest stats from the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, then you might have heard that home sales have dropped 40% year over year. And while that sounds pretty bad, I mean, is there really no hope for prospective buyers and sellers in this market? Let's unpack some of the numbers, and I'm gonna actually let you decide. I wanna start with some broad data by talking about the number of sales. In August 2022, there were a total of 1,884 sales. And now there have only been 2 other times that we have seen sales under the 2,000 mark in the previous 10 years. August 2012, which was the lowest number of sales at 1,645, and August 2018 at 1,940 sales. Interestingly enough, those 2 years had much higher inventory than we currently do. In August 2012, there was just under double the number of properties that we currently have on the market. And in August 2018, there was 34% more inventory on the market than we have today. So despite the numbers being low, you still have a better chance of selling your property now than you did in those last 2 moderating markets because there's just less competition. Just some food for thought. Let's talk about townhomes and condos in the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver. Sales of condos hit 998 in August 2022. That is a 38.8% decrease compared to August of 2021, which was absolutely crazy, so I'm not terribly surprised. Attached, or the townhome sales in August 2022, topped out at 355, which was a 38.4% decrease compared to the 576 sales that we had in August 2021. Again, can't compete with those numbers, they were crazy. So what's interesting to note here is that all the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver areas are still considered sellers markets for condos and townhomes, except for Vancouver's downtown, which is actually a balanced market. So Vancouver Westside, East Van, Richmond, Burnaby, New West, Coquitlam, Poco, Pomo, Pitt Meadows, Tsawwassen, Ladner, North Van, West Van, and Maple Ridge are all still sellers markets. In fact, the same can be said about the Fraser Valley. Only Mission and Abbotsford have balanced markets, and the rest, North Delta, Surrey, South Surrey, White Rock, Cloverdale, Langley, they are all sellers markets for condos and townhomes. Interesting. So turning now to the detached market. This is where we see the real big lag in numbers. In the Real Estate Board of Greater Vancouver, there are 3 markets that are firmly entrenched as buyers markets. And they are Vancouver's West Side, West Vancouver, and Tsawwassen, coming in at 8%, 7%, and 8% respectively for their sales ratio. Now, I get some people may not understand the ratio thing, so a different way of putting this would be like this. In West Vancouver in the month of August, the inventory was 391 properties, and there were only 28 sales. Ooh, ouch. In the Fraser Valley, Mission is down all the way to a 6% sales ratio, which is the lowest by far in our area. And if you're a potential seller in any of these 4 markets, as I've mentioned, you and your agent will have to work hard to get a successful sale in this 4th quarter. That means truly understanding your potential buyer avatars and designing marketing and a pricing strategy that will attract them. You cannot leave the sale to chance or in the hands of an inexperienced agent. You need an agent with a mature understanding of the market, so do not shortchange yourself here. But if you're a buyer in any of those markets, as I've mentioned, then the world is your oyster. You have lots to choose from. But I digress. There are only 3 areas which are for detached homes that are still sellers markets, and they are Coquitlam at 21% sales ratio, Port Coquitlam at 36%, and Burnaby at 22%. Sellers in Coquitlam East, Oxford Heights, and Willingdon Heights who have a 3 to 4 bedroom to sell are the ones that experienced all the luck in August. And when it comes to the Fraser Valley, there are two areas that are sellers markets: North Delta and Cloverdale. Now, just because these 5 areas are in sellers markets right now does not mean that a seller can take this market for granted. Pricing is king and marketing is queen. And in this moderating market, sellers would be wise to remember that. So what does this all mean for the average home seller? That's actually a really good question. For anyone who is looking to sell a condo or a townhome and move into a detached property, this is actually a really good time to do so. You would be in a seller's market selling your property and maximize the value on that side, and then in a buyer's market to purchase your next home. So if you're looking to upsize, you may actually want to consider this strategy right now and definitely through the 4th quarter. And if you're looking to get into the condo market, you should know that the bulk of these sales that happened in August were under $1 million. If you follow my Monday Market Monitor videos, then you will be familiar with what I am talking about because I talk about it all the time. Entry-level properties are still in hot demand. In fact, most of the properties that have sold at or above list price in August were under $1 million. Another tidbit of info that I like to report on in my weekly videos. So if you're considering a purchase under $1 million, then you could very well be in competition. So it's still essential to have all your ducks in a row. You need your pre-approval done, you need to have your deposit ready, your down payment sorted out, and the best agent possible on your side to get you through the negotiations. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do know that this summer was one of pent-up demand for travel, and where I normally see half the buyer pool go away and on vacation and take a break from real estate, this year it was more like 75%. Everyone and their dog was away, and the whole buyer pool is not actually expected to return till the 3rd week of September. Traditionally, our August is slower for real estate sales, and September and October get a boost. And I feel as though I can safely say that we will see that typical market cycle play out this fall. It just might be muted compared to past years. Keep in mind the Bank of Canada will raise rates again at the next sitting, which is literally around the corner, and that will affect purchasers. How much remains to be seen, especially given that inflation is still taking a bite out of potential purchasers' savings. So how do you think the Bank of Canada's next sitting will affect purchasers? If you've got some thoughts, toss them in the comments below because I'd love to hear them. One thing I do know is that real estate markets like this, where there is uncertainty in the marketplace, there is a flight by the consumer to quality, experience, and knowledge. So whether you're a buyer or seller, make sure you have a realtor in your corner that is a student of the market, someone who is following those weekly stats, the local economy, and has seen some shit so that they can best advise you. The last thing you want to do is have somebody playing fast and loose with what is most likely your largest financial asset. On that note, thank you for tuning into the Collective Communiqué. And remember, I'm always here to help you reach your real estate goals. Thanks again, friends, and we will see you in the next video.